Picture it, South Texas, spring 2018. I was awarded a grant to begin a New Horizons band at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. The grant was provided specifically to support the UTRGV mission promoting community engagement and the UTRGV School of Music's vision of connecting students and faculty with community members and encouraging community involvement. The New Horizons Band would bring community members to campus to connect and socialize with one another while actively engaged in making music. Additionally, UTRGV undergraduate music education majors who had successfully completed or were currently enrolled in the Instrumental Music Content Pedagogy course were invited to join the New Horizons Band, providing opportunities for them to connect with community while developing secondary instrument skills performing with the ensemble and gaining teaching experience working with the band. Lane found that engagement between adult learners in a New Horizons band and university students working with them positively influenced teacher preparation in two ways. First, adult learners provided student teachers immediate and clear feedback, communicating information in ways that helped improve their teaching. Second, adult learners began instruction without labels implying certain levels of mastery. Without labels, student teachers had to appropriately and thoroughly diagnose and evaluate learner needs, prompting frequent and deeper reflections and more meaningful teacher-student interactions. Student teachers also became more open to and inclusive of learners' personal goals and learning outcomes. Kaufman found that undergraduate music education majors involved with New Horizons bands gained practical experience in real-world settings, opportunities to apply skills gained in coursework, and put theory to practice prior to student teaching. Excited about the possibilities for the New Horizons Band and undergraduate music students, I launched a very extensive recruiting process. I had high hopes and great expectations that we would have a room filled with dozens of community members eager to be part of the New Horizons Band and a group of undergrads wanting to gain playing and teaching experience. In reality, the New Horizons Band was a small but mighty group of 7, and only one undergraduate in the entire School of Music was interested in participating. Thankfully, Katie, the one undergraduate interested in participating, had successfully completed the Music Content Pedagogy course and agreed to participate in a case study examining her experiences, specifically how she applied strategies from coursework to teaching in the New Horizons Band and aspects of the experience that were meaningful to her as a future music educator. Data was collected through journal entries, teaching reflections, video recordings of teachings, and 2 semi-structured interviews. Here I share a major theme from the findings and discuss the implications for music teacher education. The confidence Katie developed as a teacher was most meaningful to her as a music educator. This was a goal from the start. In her first journal, she wrote that she hoped to gain confidence from the experience and spoke of it a number of times in other journals and in both interviews. One thing that contributed to her confidence was the comfort she felt as part of the group. This first struck me during Katie's second time teaching the New Horizons Band. She was leading the ensemble through a flashcard sequence using sound before sight pedagogy. It was a 4-step sequence. She first called a rhythm pattern using Gordon's syllable system, and students echoed. She then called each pattern again, and as students echoed, she showed them a flashcard with a rhythm pattern. Third, she instructed students to look and sing, and students read the patterns one at a time. And finally, she instructed them to look and sing, and students read the entire sequence of patterns in a row. Katie was familiar with this sequence, having done it multiple times in the instrumental pedagogy class. She had prepared it as part of her lesson that evening and ran through it once more in my office before rehearsal. However, once in the moment, she got stuck during the sequence. She very casually turned to me and asked if I could refresh her memory, which I did, and she got right back to teaching. It was not a big deal that she broke the flow of sequence or asked for help. What stood out was that I was certain she would not have done the same thing in class. She would have stumbled through it, possibly getting incorrect, but I was certain that she would not have stopped and asked for help. I asked her if she would have stopped and asked for help if that had happened in class, and she said, probably not. Katie said she felt comfortable asking in the New Horizons Band because of the close-knit group and casual setting. Wondering if it was because she was being evaluated on her teaching in class and not in the New Horizons Band, or worse, if I had unintentionally communicated something that made her think she could not ask for help, I asked her if she would have felt uncomfortable asking for help in class. She said she would not have been uncomfortable, but she would have been embarrassed, because in class, her and her peers are supposed to know the same thing. She should not be the one asking for help if others were not. That would mean that she knew less than her peers. In the New Horizons band, Katie felt less pressured to do everything right. I asked if she felt pressured to do everything right in pedagogy class, again, thinking I may be putting out a vibe I did not intend to. She described pedagogy class and New Horizons band as, quote, different energies. In pedagogy class, she felt more like a student, saying, I'm practicing my teaching, but I'm a student with other students. Whereas in the New Horizons band, she truly felt like a teacher. At this point, my thinking started shifting. My focus and thought process surrounding the New Horizons band was centered more on how pre-service music teachers could be involved in community music. After these conversations and reflections with Katie, I questioned how I could bring more of a community feel to music education courses, particularly the pedagogy course, to perhaps shift students feeling pressured to know more than their peers or be uncomfortable making mistakes or asking for help, to one where they felt comfortable as part of a connected and supportive cohort. I asked Katie if class felt like a community. She paused for quite a bit, then hesitantly said yes, going on to say that she believed community was defined as unity and said her and her peers were, quote, all in this together. She continued, I wasn't always close to a lot of the people in class, but we were always going towards the same goals, so I guess that's true in a community as well. A lot of people are not close to each other, but they help each other out. I strive for an open, discussion-based classroom where students are free to share thoughts, ideas, and collaborate on projects. I considered my classes community of practice as defined by Weimer as, quote, groups of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. I was reading a lot on community music, and as Katie and I were having these conversations, I recalled a part in Higgins' book describing community as hospitality. Community as hospitality begins with the welcome, so rethinking community as an act of welcoming. Welcoming requires preparation for the incoming participants. This includes an invitation to be included, action toward relationship with one another, and unconditionality, or welcome without reservation. The open invitation can result in an experience of connectivity among participants and between participants and the music they make, encourages participants toward more creative music making, and can produce lasting impressions. Or, thinking about community as hospitality in a pedagogy course setting, would be an experience of connectivity among students and between students and the teaching they do, encourages students toward more creative pedagogy, and produces lasting impressions. Abramo and Reynolds described a framework for pedagogical creativity that incorporated 4 traits of creative pedagogues. The first was becoming more responsive to students and the environment, being flexible and improvisatory. They suggested providing students with objectives, materials, or a lesson plan, then creating scenarios involving unanticipated events, allowing students opportunities to practice creative pedagogy and help build a toolbox of strategies they can use to tackle them and move on. The second trait of creative pedagogues is being comfortable with ambiguity, experimenting with different possibilities and uncertain ideas and solutions. Engage in dialogue that leads students to accept that answers worth knowing often don't have fixed answers. Engage in dialogue and view knowledge through multiple perspectives that will help them develop a disposition of accepting and incorporating their students' constructions of truth. Third was combining different ideas in new and interesting ways, helping music teachers design innovative instruction and better understand students' abilities and development. Ask students to explore diverse examples of music education, such as a New Horizons band. Ask them to take musical concepts and devise creative strategies to teach them. The fourth trait of creative pedagogues is embracing fluid and flexible identities, weaving musician, teacher, and non-music identities. Exploring multiple selves helps recognize the various qualities in students, which you can use to connect with them and create relevant curricula. Allow students to express their various identities, then ask them to combine a musical and non-musical identity to construct a lesson plan. I now view community music as part of or embedded in music teacher education. I am working to restructure my music education courses with a larger focus on community by blending community as hospitality with creative pedagogy and using community music contexts such as the New Horizons Band to continue developing confident, comfortable teachers. While I can create a more community feel in the pedagogy class, I cannot change the fact that students will still be peer teaching. However, rethinking community in the classroom can help create a more collaborative and creative environment where students share ideas, gain new perspectives and strategies, while becoming more comfortable, confident teachers who can ask for help when needed without fear of failure or not knowing in front of their peers. Additionally, continuing to create opportunities for students to engage with the New Horizons Band will provide another setting for them to use strategies learned in coursework, continue honing their skills, and build confidence to help them, as Katie said, quote, start to believe more in what they know. I will continue rethinking and restructuring each course to focus on making community a central aspect, believing that if you build it, they will come.